Okay, welcome to the Force Always. Got the hoodie for the big one tonight. That's right, this is Solo, a Star Wars story premiere night here in Melbourne, Australia. Let's get into the news, and it is the news, which is Solo is premiering here in Melbourne. It's the 23rd night here, 24th morning coming up. So we're getting it about a couple of days in advance before America. So that's the news for here. We've also got more news. There will be a non-spoiler and spoiler review at the end of this video of Solo. That's it, Solo, a Star Wars story. So wait around for that. And also some reactions from some of the Force Always crew that I'm coming here with. So check that out. So that's the news for this time around. Welcome to the view section of the Force Always. Now, this is not about YouTube views. This is about not my predictions. This is about my story ideas for Star Wars. Now, there's a bit of spoiler type of activity in this part of the show. So if you don't want any spoilers on Solo, a Star Wars story, please just tune off at this point. I will be giving you a review later on that's spoiler free and spoiler. So check that one out. Anyway, the story idea is, can Solo, a Star Wars story, have a sequel? Yes. Would I like to see a sequel? Yes. And what can it be about? I think it leads into the Jabba the Hutt story. I'd love to see that as the actual next Star Wars story that would be, centered around Solo. I think that would be great. There was a scene in this film, Solo, a Star Wars story, that had Maul. That would be great as a standalone film for Obi-Wan, as the great villain for Obi-Wan. As sort of in the story timeline, he was all about revenge with Obi-Wan. But I think Solo, in a second part, would do justice if the main villain was Jabba the Hutt. There was a little bit of talk about him without sort of saying his name a number of times in the Solo, a Star Wars story. So my story idea is having Jabba the Hutt being the main villain in a second part to Solo, a Star Wars story, would create an interesting sort of movie, because these are standalone films, but this one has possibility for having a sequel. Yeah, it's quite interesting. Anyway, that's my views for this time around. Stick around, we've got the review coming up. Okay, welcome to the review section of the Force Always. This review is going to be about Solo, a Star Wars story that I've just seen. This is the non-spoiler, the non-spoiler review of Solo, a Star Wars story by myself, followed by the Force Always crew and their reactions and comments, which gets a little bit spoilerish, just to let you know. So the end of this non-spoiler part for myself will be about Solo, and it'll be non-spoiler. Then it will come back to me, and I'll give you the spoiler version of Solo, a Star Wars story. So let's get into it. Straight off the bat, this film was definitely a 9.1 out of 10. It's a great film. From start to finish, the pacing of this film is amazing. It's not just, big explosions, just fight sequences. The pacing is just really good. It goes from one thing to another fairly rapidly. The introductions of the gun, Chewbacca, and things like this were done subtly and nicely. The other standout to this film, Solo, I thought was the music. Now, the music had real undertones of Indiana Jones, which I sort of expected this to be a galactic version of Solo, of A Star Wars Story. I just thought it was going to be galactic Indiana Jones. But the music is really, it just keeps on hitting from start to the end of the film. It does have reminiscent John Williams classics, which it sort of needed in certain parts of the film. But I think it was really entertaining. It paid a lot of fan service. You could sit in this film a number of times, which I am going to be doing today, to really sort of get the detail. Look, the acting is fantastic. I thought Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo really hit it well. He was about an 8.9 out of 10 for getting the Han Solo character into order. His sound, his mannerisms, his naive sort of arrogance to the character that was required at that point, and still having a sort of a desire for love, if you were to say Han Solo was there. But the one that really hit harder was Donald Glover, not Danny Glover, Donald Glover, who played Lando Calrissian. He really did come off sound-wise, especially as Lando Calrissian. He was about a 9.5 out of 10. There was a couple of times you sort of didn't believe him a little, but he really hit it hard, don't get me wrong. I thought the character Kira was very interesting, and if you've got to wait towards the end of the film to sort of see why she's interesting. But it gave a real mature sort of feel to a real childish type movie franchise. She is a great actress. Her character was, a nice inclusion. And yeah, so that's my spoiler free. I've done the best I can. Later on, after the Force Always crew, coming right after here, will give their reactions, reviews. I'll give you a spoiler edition of my review. So again, 9.1 out of 10 for Solo, A Star Wars Story. Keep rocking. And here they are, the Force Always crew. Okay, welcome to the review section of The Force Always. This is Sam. He's just seen Solo, A Star Wars Story. What's your review on the film out of 10, and say some comments?
I thought it was really good. Thought there was plenty of action. It was good to see the way in which Han won the Millennium Falcon from his good friend Lando. I think I would give it maybe an 8 out of 10.
Beautiful. Thanks, Sam.
No worries.
And here is Simon. He's just seen Solo, A Star Wars Story. What's your review?
7.5 or 8 out of 10, I would say.
Yeah.
Few things pop out. It was really funny to hear that Han Solo actually spoke Wookiee straight away. So that was quite entertaining. Yeah, lots of good stuff in the movie. I found it really entertaining, and I'm going to have to see it again.
Yeah.
Because I can't rate it properly without seeing it again. Because I'm a little bit dazed, I should be in bed. So.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Thanks, Simon.
Thanks, Dave. It's been a great night.
So this is Andy. He's just seen Solo, A Star Wars Story. Out of 10, and some thoughts. What do you think?
Yeah, it was good. It's a bit late, but probably 8.3 out of 10.
8.3 by Andy. And any further comments?
Very entertaining. I won't spoil it for anyone because Dave will do that for all you.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks. Okay, this is Ryan.
Doctor?
And he's just seen Solo.
Han Solo.
That's it, Han Solo, the movie. Now, what is your score out of 10 and comments?
I'm very harsh on my scoring, so 8.5 is high for me. It's good. I thought it was very good.
Yep, and so some comments. What's your
Storyline
thoughts?
was very good, matched up very well. Thoroughly enjoyed Donald Glover's performance. It was very well, good acting, and just a bit of a letdown at the ending. I thought we might have saw Jabba the Hutt there.
Right.
I feel like you would have been disappointed.
Yes, I will be adding that in my review later on. But yeah, thanks,
Yeah,
Ryan.
overall, very happy.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Doctor.
And here is Aiden. He's also seen Solo, A Star Wars Story. What's your score out of 10 and thoughts?
I thought it was a very good movie with lots of tie-ins, and I give it an 8.75.
8.75 from the man Aiden. Any further comments? Anything else?
Have a good one.
Have a good one. Thank you very much. So here we go. We've got Ben and Silver. They've just seen Solo. What are your thoughts and out of 10? Ben?
6.5.
6.5.
Come at me.
Yeah. And what's your comments on that?
Spoiler, just one really long ad for Solo.
Okay, let's go to Silver. What's your score out of 10?
I really liked it.
Yeah.
I'd give it 8.5.
8.5?
You know, it was really good. You know, I feel like it set up the story for Solo really well. You know?
Yeah. Any other comments?
No, it was a good movie.
Okay, beautiful. Thanks a lot. Silver and Ben. And here is a surprise guest reviewer. I can't show his face because this is actually Sean. Sources of the Force he's the man that comes up with the news items for this show, and I can't show his face. He's a mystery man. Now, Sean, how you doing?
Like a dentist.
Yeah. Excellent. Now, Sean, what was your score for Solo, A Star Wars Story, and what comments do you give it?
Well, I'm going to give Solo a solid 9. I thought it was just the film that I wished The Last Jedi had have been. And I just watching it, I just felt like I was sort of back in that sort of whole OT era, and it was just total fan service, but it was really well done. I think Ron Howard just did exceptional work, and you know, I mean, Disney should just pass the torch on to him.
Beautiful. Now,
Make more.
any other comments with that?
Well, you can sort of see like that he just knew how to like handle a Star Wars film, and I think, you know, him sort of being in close association with George Lucas, I think that was sort of inferred, and you could sort of see that there was that influence through this movie, and that's why I think it was just so successful. Like for me personally, like just watching it, I just enjoyed it from start to finish, and I mean, I haven't felt that way about a Star Wars movie in quite some time, so I was really impressed by it.
Yeah, well, thanks, Sean, and once again, thanks for all your news items. It's fantastic. Scour the internet, word of mouth, things like that. That's great. Now, listen, Sean, that's your review. So you gave it again.
Solid 9.
Solid 9 out of 10.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Okay, so I'm back. Thanks to the Force Always crew. It was a great night with those guys. We had some fun before, during, and after. That was the midnight session of Solo, A Star Wars Story here, Melbourne, Australia, in an area called Chadstone. I'm in the car park at the moment, giving you my spoiler-free and spoiler. This is going to be the spoiler version of my review for Solo, A Star Wars Story. Here it is. So, again, as I said before, the music was definitely predominant in this film. It was great. Reminiscing sort of John Williams classics, along with giving it a Indiana Jones feel. So the spoiler part here, I thought the biggest fan service in this film was the reintroduction of Maul. A lot of people know him as Darth Maul, but he's known as Maul now. You've got to really see the Clone Wars to understand what I'm talking about here. He did leave the Sith Order, Darth Maul, and become his own entity, as he was betrayed by many people, many aliens, many things, whatever you like to say. So Maul appears at the end of the film,
I think it's a great inclusion. It's actually played by the original actor. I thought it might have been like a more species, if that's the way to put it. But it was actually Maul. I looked in the credits because I didn't really see in that first viewing focus. I didn't focus on his legs, and his legs were sort of turned into sort of robotic type legs. So that was definitely a great inclusion and definitely a surprise. I would never have thought that was going to be in there. But that really does now suggest that Obi-Wan Kenobi is a definite, because I actually think that Disney will push that character as a lead villain in the Obi-Wan Kenobi film. That has been unofficial to this stage, but I think it will happen. The pacing of this film was great from start to finish. There was a lot of fan service little characters in there. There was 2 Tubes was in there from Rogue One. You got to look very closely. He appears there. There was a lot of aliens that looked a little bit Disney, sort of Star Wars like, but it was interesting and still fit the sort of feel. The whole way that the Millennium Falcon lost its front bit was probably not as iconic as I thought it was going to be. It was definitely good. There was an escape pod. It was an escape pod at the front, and that was used to destroy a particular alien at that time, this octopus type sort of alien, which I thought was okay. I'm not against these octopus type aliens. They fit, but I thought it could have sort of be a bit more sort of symbolic in its moment. But I thought I gave this. I said 9.1 out of 10. Where it lost was because this Star Wars film is not about Jedi and it's not about lightsabers. You really do miss that a little, especially when you see, I think, Dryden Voss, wielding these sort of blades, these red blades. So it makes you think, oh man, I'd love to see a lightsaber scene. There is a lightsaber scene in here, but it's not. There's no actual action. But if you look closely to the character of Qi'ra, she does use a sword, not a lightsaber, a sword. And she does work with Maul. So obviously there's going to be some sort of Sith building or turn to the dark side possibility for her if this is a success. I think this film will really have a big weekend here in Australia. And definitely America, but it's the second and third weeks that I want to see how much it falls off for this to be like how good this film is. This film is definitely high up in its entertainment, definitely great for its fan service, definitely for its music. And if you know the tale of this movie, how it got put together, there was so many things that just went wrong. From changing of the director, which is the main thing, some artwork that sort of was a bit plagiarized by some graphic designers out there. It had a lot of bad moments, but I think personally, this is, I'd say, equal the great Star Wars story. My favorite Star Wars story is Return of the Jedi and Revenge of the Sith. As fun as they're the third ones, the third parts to the trilogies. And this one was, I think by second viewing, I'm going to really cement this as my favorite Star Wars story. Not the favorite Star Wars movie. All of them have something to offer. That's what I believe. But I think that the whole story to Solo, a Star Wars story, I believed it was going to be the great Star Wars story, and I was right. You will be in for a great Star Wars story. Some out there will see a little bit Disney, but it's I don't know, if you can just get your head around that and really dive into the gritty underworld feeling of Solo, and just accept the characters. And speaking of characters, one of the main enemies in this, Empty Nest, She, and that's a spoiler, I thought it was great. Her sound of the voice is great. The way that she went from being really bad to Solo and then sort of becoming an ally, I thought that was an interesting move. But her crew was good. Probably a jarring moment. The only jarring moment I had was one of her crew was the actor, and I can't think of his name at the moment, but he's the actor who played Wicket, the Ewok in Return of the Jedi. He takes off a mask and you see him. That's the actor. I've forgotten his name, but my goodness, he's the guy that played Wicket, the Ewok in Return of the Jedi. You sort of see him and you just go, oh, wait a minute, this is a bit too heavy in its fan service, but it's still good to see him. I believe in that actor. He's great. I saw him at Star Wars Celebration Orlando. I gave him a high five, believe me, and that was a little bit low, and that's not putting him down, and that's no pun. But he was, he's quite small. So one of the main enemies that starts out in this film, Infiness, is a great character. Very much like a bounty hunter, but in a sort of more organic way, if you to put it. So anyway, that's my extended spoiler review of Solo: A Star Wars Story. 9.1 out of 10. Let's see if I can add anything else. There's many pieces of this film that you'll just, you want to talk about, things like that. But yeah, you will have a definitely good ride. So that's my review this time. And thank you very much. Boy, this is a little bit weird doing the whole show almost in the car, but this is after the premiere here in Melbourne, Australia. This is the interview section. Let's just get right into the two questions. First question is, was it good having such an iconic character, Maul, or as some people out there know, Darth Maul, appear in Solo? And I'll say yes. Fan service shouldn't be an evil or bad word. I think it's great, especially when it serves the Star Wars timeline perfectly and introduces some great villains. I mean, we really didn't get much of Darth Maul. I was not a massive Darth Maul fan back in the day. Still am not. I mean, he's good. He serves the purpose, but it was just never somebody I really loved. But so to answer the question, is it good to have such an iconic character like Maul be in this film? And I'll say yes. So to the second question, and this is a bit of a spoilerish question too. The fact that we didn't get Jabba the Hutt, which was almost going to be shown at the very end of the film, is this good or bad? I'll say good and bad. I would have loved to seen Jabba the Hutt at the very last moment. But when you think about it, as the film ends, it sort of leaves it open and ends the film well anyway, where it ends, but it keeps it open to seeing him next, in a next possibility to Solo, or even in another anthology / a Star Wars story film. It gives it a bit of mystery to it, a bit of anticipation as well. I would have loved to see Jabba the Hutt. I was just sitting there going, oh my goodness, here's the moment we're going to see him, but no, it didn't happen. But so I think it was more about good not having him in the actual film. So gives a bit of sort of mystery and anticipation for a next possible Star Wars movie, story, whatever you like to see. So that's the interview section for this time around. So as I pan over here, you can be a Patreon of mine, which is at patreon.com. Support the channel. It'd be fantastic if you can just contribute. If not, it's okay. I'm a Star Wars fan that's going to rock on. In fact, today, it's the 24th of May today. I'm seeing a 9:30 session. That's 9:30 a.m. I'm then seeing a 12:30 p.m. session. And then I'm seeing a 3:30 p.m. session and a 6:30 p.m. session today. That's 4 in a row. And I did see the midnight session as well.
So I'm a Star Wars fan, just to let you know. So Patreon supporter, that'd be great. If you can't, that's okay. I'll still be rocking. Subscribe to the channel. The Force Always, only on YouTube. I'm here weekly giving you the Star Wars news, views, reviews, and interviews. That's right. Me, David Zammit, aka Diz. And leave a comment if you like. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. And until next time, as I say, with the funky baseball cap, you know, the Force Always. Keep rocking.